Hi guys, Frozen Hood here. Welcome to my channel and another World of Warcraft video. To start playing World of Warcraft, you need to make an important decision: which version to play. Choosing the wrong one could mean spending dozens of hours on something you'll eventually realize you don't enjoy. Games like WoW require a significant time investment before you really understand how they feel and whether they suit you. While the different versions of WoW share many similarities, they also have major differences that can lead to completely different gameplay experiences. And the game isn't free. You'll need to pay a subscription fee regardless of the version you choose. And in some cases, you'll also need to buy expansions. In this video, I'll give you a practical comparison of the different WoW versions to hopefully save you time and help you make the best choice for your playstyle. There's no bad version of the game. What matters is which one aligns best with what you're looking for. Currently, there are 4 versions of the game. The modern World of Warcraft, also known as Retail, which I'll refer to as Retail from here on for clarity, World of Warcraft Classic Era, World of Warcraft Mists of Pandaria Classic, and World of Warcraft Season of Discovery. I'll start with a brief overview of each version, then dive into more specific details. Retail WoW is the most modern version of the game. It offers the widest variety of both PvE and PvP content, the most character race and class options, the most quality of life improvements, and the most advanced graphics and interface. Roughly every 2 years, Retail gets a new expansion that introduces new zones, dungeons, raids, character customization options, interface updates, and sometimes even brand new races or classes. The current expansion is called The War Within. It has received a mixed but generally positive response from the WoW community, with players praising some aspects of the game while criticizing others. If you're looking for a version that's frequently updated with new content and features, Retail might be the right fit for you. However, there are other important factors to consider, and I'll get into those later in this video. The idea behind WoW Classic, also known as Classic Era, was to let the community experience the game in its original form, just as it was before the release of the first expansion. It launched in 2019 and was highly anticipated, especially by players who felt that modern WoW was heading in the wrong direction and no longer offered the same quality of experience. Over time, interest in this version has declined somewhat, but it still has a relatively large and dedicated player base, mostly found on the so-called anniversary servers. One very important thing to know about Classic Era is that it doesn't receive any new content or major updates. What's there is all you're going to get, so eventually, you'll find yourself repeating the same content over and over. That might not be ideal for everyone, depending on what kind of gaming experience you're looking for. In 2021, Blizzard separated Classic Era into its own standalone version and launched a new progression-based version of the game, where older expansions would be added over time. First came the Burning Crusade Classic, then Wrath of the Lich King Classic, followed by Cataclysm Classic, and now Mists of Pandaria Classic. For many players, Mists of Pandaria is considered one of the best expansions ever released. It features a great story, beautiful zones, well-designed dungeons and raids, and strong class design and mechanics. At the moment, there's no official information from Blizzard about whether they plan to continue adding more expansions beyond Mists of Pandaria, or if this will be the final phase of new content for this version. Choosing a version of WoW became even more complicated when Blizzard introduced what they call seasonal servers, completely separate from any other version of the game. The current one is called Season of Discovery. It offers a brand new way to experience the world of Classic Era, with fresh content, new game mechanics, and faster leveling. It's essentially a blend of Classic Era, mechanics and features from various expansions, and some experimental ideas unique to this version. Content was released in phases, and Season of Discovery is now in its final phase. Blizzard has confirmed that active development on this version has ended, so no major updates are expected going forward. Since the announcement about the end of development, this version has seen a significant drop in its active player base. Now that we've gone through a brief overview of the different WoW versions, it's time for a more in-depth comparison. I've focused on 4 key factors: leveling experience, endgame experience, complexity, and popularity. Of course, these factors can be quite subjective, which is why I mentioned earlier that whether or not you'll enjoy a certain version really depends on your own expectations and personal preferences. That said, this comparison is based on my own experience, with hundreds of hours spent in each version of the game. Retail WoW is primarily focused on endgame content rather than the leveling experience. Compared to the other versions, leveling in Retail is very fast and very easy, so much so that many elements during this phase feel almost irrelevant. Things like following the story, leveling professions, making gold, or paying attention to the gear you pick up along the way don't matter much or not at all. You can think of the leveling stage in Retail as a kind of training ground to get familiar with different classes, roles, the interface, and overall game mechanics. And that training might actually come in handy because the endgame in Retail can be quite complex and even overwhelming, especially for new players. If you're looking for a slower-paced, more immersive leveling adventure, there are better options among the other versions. WoW Classic is one of the versions that offers a completely different experience when it comes to leveling. Right from level 1, everything matters. How much gold you have, what gear you found, which professions you're leveling, and many other small details can make a big difference. Leveling in Classic is much slower and more difficult than in Retail. It encourages you to take your time exploring zones, completing quests, and gradually building up your character. It offers a solid challenge, but also the opportunity for a more relaxed and immersive adventure, especially if you're not in a rush. On the other hand, if you prefer a faster-paced leveling experience, WoW Classic probably isn't the right fit for you. When it comes to leveling experience, Mists of Pandaria Classic and Season of Discovery fall somewhere between WoW Classic and Retail, but they lean more toward the faster pace of Retail. In both cases, leveling is much quicker than in Classic era, but still takes more time and effort than in Retail. You'll have plenty of time to get familiar with your class and role. In Season of Discovery, you'll even get some raiding experience before you hit max level, which helps prepare you for the endgame. In both versions, it's a good idea to start leveling your professions early and gradually build up your gold reserves. This is especially important in Season of Discovery, where gold management plays a bigger role. Overall, both versions are designed to help you reach max level faster, while still giving you time to engage with the game's systems along the way. Endgame content is where Retail really stands out. As I mentioned earlier, it offers the widest variety of both PvE and PvP activities. You'll find dungeons with multiple difficulty levels, including Mythic and Mythic Plus, which are exclusive to Retail. There are also Delves, a newer type of content similar to dungeons that can be played solo or with other players and offer valuable rewards. These are also exclusive to Retail. On top of that, Retail includes a wide range of raids, world bosses, world quests, and PvP events, some of which do exist in other versions, but not at the same scale or depth. In comparison, the endgame content in Classic Era, Season of Discovery, and Mists of Pandaria Classic is more limited. Of the three, Mists of Pandaria Classic arguably offers the richest endgame experience, but it's still far behind what Retail has to offer in terms of content variety. But all that variety in Retail comes with a cost, complexity. It has a much more complicated talent system than any other version. Classes have far more complex spells and ability rotations. Sometimes you might even need a proper mouse with more buttons to manage everything effectively. Blizzard recently introduced the new single-button assistant feature, which has received mixed reactions from the community, and that's to be expected. While some players appreciate its accessibility and convenience for casual gameplay, creating a complex class system with tons of spells and abilities only to offer a one-button option doesn't really make sense. Honestly, pressing the same button over and over isn't very engaging, especially in an MMORPG where depth and player skill are supposed to matter. Professions and the reputation system in Retail are also much more involved. There's a lot to learn, and many of these systems directly affect your character's performance and overall gameplay experience. That steep learning curve can be overwhelming, especially if you're new to the game. On top of that, each expansion usually introduces new systems and concepts you need to master. Sometimes these are similar enough to previous ones that you can pick them up quickly, but other times they're completely new and require extra effort. The other three versions are much simpler in comparison. They feature straightforward talent trees that you can get comfortable with during leveling. Their profession and reputation systems are easier to understand for new players, and class ability rotations are much less complicated, especially in Classic Era. So if you enjoy complex mechanics, skill trees, and deep gameplay, Retail is probably the right choice for you. But if you prefer a more casual experience, don't have a lot of time to invest, or don't want to feel like you're constantly playing catch-up, one of the other versions might suit you better. Retail is by far the most popular version of the game, with the highest number of players and servers. Many features in Retail are cross-server, some even cross-faction, making the choice of server much less critical than it used to be. Classic Era and Mists of Pandaria Classic don't have as many players as Retail, but they're still very popular versions. In both of these, picking a more populated server can be crucial to your experience, especially if you like playing with others. Larger servers tend to have more active guilds, more active auction houses, and more group events. As I mentioned earlier, since Blizzard announced the end of active development for Season of Discovery, many players have left that version. Season of Discovery was built around constantly adding new and unique content in each phase. That's what made it stand out and attracted more players over time. Because of this, it's possible that Season of Discovery will become even less popular going forward, which raises the question, is it still worth investing your time and effort into this version at this stage? That wraps up this overview of the different versions of World of Warcraft. Hopefully this has given you a clearer picture of what each version offers and helped you figure out which one might be the best fit for your playstyle and preferences. If you found this video useful, please give it a like. It really helps support the channel and lets me know you want more content like this. And I'd love to hear from you. Which version of WoW are you currently playing? And what do you enjoy most about it? Or maybe you're still deciding and have questions. Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.